Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Phil and Ryan, listen up and Rye as the Huskies return from this very unusual, tough start to the season. They get into Big East play here on this Friday morning. I appreciate you joining me on December 27th as we approach 2025. Ryan, next up on the list, Providence, head coached by Aaron Bath.
Yeah, well, I hope everybody had a good Christmas and spent some time with family, ate lots of good food over the nice holiday break. As UConn is approaching the end of their 8-day break and now getting ready to face Providence on Sunday, early game at 1:30 at the XL Center. Hopefully the break did some good for the Huskies and gave them a chance to kind of refresh and to gear up for the new year. But of course, we have this game, this one game left before the new year against the Providence Friars, who are 7-7 so far on the season and lost their first Big East game, their only Big East matchup so far, to Seton Hall. It's a somewhat disappointing start, I would say, to the season for the Friars thus far, considering they brought back all five starters from last year who are now all seniors. Those five are Grace Afosa, who's averaging 16 points for them, so not too bad for her. Bryn Farrell averaging almost 9 points. You also have Emily Archibald, Kylie Shepard, and Olivia Olson, who I would say all three of those players are having somewhat down years so far, especially Olivia Olson, who averaged 14 points last year, only getting 8 this year. All of her numbers are also slightly down. So maybe it's been a bad start to the season for Providence and not how they envisioned it to go outside of the conference, but they have a chance to try to get back on track as they start their Big East play as well. But can't really see that happening this week as they, of course, play our UConn Huskies. I think it's going to be a fairly easy game for UConn. You would kind of expect it. Providence has struggled to score. I can't really see this game being that close, but I think UConn has to focus on a couple things during this game. I think they have a couple things they need to try to correct and try to, get better at. Try to learn from that USC loss, but hopefully we can see a lot more 3-point attempts and specifically a lot more of them go in. Hopefully, I think this game is going to be a good opportunity for some players to get hot from the offensive side of things and hopefully get the shooting back on track a little bit.
All right, we'll say predictions for last, like always, score and who wins. Ryan, let's go over the comments from the last video. BRN Soldier said, "Hey, Phil and Rye, I hate to say this, but the next few games are just to sharpen the tools in the tool shed. I truly believe if we beat Tennessee and South Carolina, we will be back in the top four, which will set us up for March Madness." Well, Ryan, yeah, I mean, it is just to sharpen the tools, I would say, in the tool shed, but it doesn't mean the UConn community has to stop coming through. We need them to support not you and I necessarily, but these UConn women.
Well, I think that, yeah, I mean, for sure the games against Tennessee and South Carolina are going to be very important. We just had the episode on the Big East and, focused on that a little bit and kind of expect most of these games to be fairly easy for the most part. But I think, every year it's kind of you play all these Big East games and have save a couple of the big matchups until later of the season to try to prepare the Huskies one last time for their postseason run as we get into March, of course. So, yeah, those games are going to be massive against Tennessee and South Carolina. It's going to, really prove where the Huskies are at the end of the season.
Giannis Press. Seems only yesterday I was thanking you for a great 2023, but thank you once again for riding the ups and downs of 2024. Have a great Christmas and New Year from all of your global UConn family. Phil and Rye, love you guys. Keep keeping it real as you always do. London out. They made a great point, Ryan, because we see Not calling anyone fake. No, not doing that. But we see who still comes through during the tough times and who doesn't.
Yeah, well, we definitely appreciate that. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year to you as well. Yeah, it is hard to believe. Only a couple days left here in 2024. This the year goes by so quick anymore. Christmas always goes by so quickly. But yeah, we definitely appreciate all the support this year, and hopefully it'll be a good start to 2025.
This is an interesting one because I brought this up to you. You and I never said a word about it in that hotel room. Jason D'Amico, I rewatched the USC game. Can anyone explain to me why Gino did not call timeout with 4 seconds left?
Yeah, it's a very good point, and I think we did say that at the end of the game. But I think, I mean, you can't really make an excuse for Gino because of how long he's coached. But I will say, and I said it at the end of the game there, everything happened so quickly, and I think for Sarah Strong, she just gets the ball off of the rebound there, and she could have called a timeout as well. But like I said, it's a tough spot for any player, but especially a freshman, to be in that kind of a situation there at the end of the game. But I'm sure they definitely discussed that at some point this week. But late game scenarios like that, everybody needs to be ready for that in March. So Gino definitely needs to prepare the team and coach them up for those late game opportunities because that happens with a lot of these games in the postseason.
One Saint Germain said, but it did come down to those free throws. Let's be honest. Paige covering for a Sarah, laugh out loud. Paige got outplayed by Juju. Playing in a weak conference does not help us. Winning by 40 is getting old. Gino doesn't get all the talent like years ago when UConn dominated. Time to go fishing, Gino.
Well, I think that's just, how college basketball has changed in general with all the NIL and all the transfer portal getting very popular, more and more popular every single year. So, I feel like it gives all these other teams an opportunity to go out further and, to get their resources even more likely to get players and all that stuff. So, I think it has been maybe a little bit difficult for UConn to adjust to that, possibly. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we're in a little bit of a title drought here for the last 6 years or so. But yeah, I think, I mean, I'd never say that it comes down to free throws at the end of the game. I think there was a lot of things throughout the whole entire game that UConn could have done differently. They could have done better, especially in that first half. But it is a tough way to end the game like that. Oh, still muted.
How about now, Ryan? We might as well test every time while we're on air. Test. Score prediction and who wins.
Yeah, I have a UConn in this game. Like I said, I would like them to shoot threes, but I would also like them to dominate inside the paint, scoring and rebounds. We need to get some sort of offense efficiency going inside of the paint. I think it's going to be another doozy, as you would say, for UConn. I'm going to go UConn 87, Providence 49.
All right, I'll go UConn 96, Providence 58. 96-58, UConn all over Providence. Ryan, last game of 2024. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.